Welcome to the Six Figure Therapist, where we discuss professional and practical ways for mental health practitioners to help others and make money. Here's your host, Dr. Arcella.
Hello, I'm Dr. Arcella, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of Six Figure Therapist. Whew, it took a minute for this episode. It took a minute. And I'll tell you why. First, I have to get used to talking to myself, like just literally with nobody around talking to myself. I'm getting used to it. But then I got COVID. So I hadn't had COVID at all for the years. At least I didn't think I did since COVID has been around. But a couple weeks ago, it got me. I got COVID. And I was on a roll prior to COVID because I had a new assistant. I started interviewing people for the podcast and everything. And so I was like, yes, I'm doing it. But then COVID got me. And so I've been in the bed for a few, about a week or so. And then I was laying there this morning and some said, girlfriend, you got to get up. You got to get up, girlfriend. So I was like, okay. But then, of course, you hear voices in your head because I also video record this too. And so the voice was like, well, what you going to wear? And your hair is not done because you had COVID, you've been in the bed. And so what you going to do and all this. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter because you are all in. You are all in. So you got to get up. And the all in piece, let me tell you real quick what that means. So every year, my company, Peak Development Group, we have a theme for the year. So this year's theme is all in. And so what we did individually and collectively is we sat and we wrote down our individual goals and our collective goals as a company. And we looked to see what was stopping us from being all in. So what was stopping us from doing anything that we needed to do to achieve what we said we wanted to achieve. And so one of my goals, and we do everything in quarters. So this is June. So my goal was to finish this podcast or to birth this podcast by the end of June. So it's June 13th. So I was like, girl, you got to get up. June almost over already. You got to get up. So I just fluffed the hair. I got up, put some earrings on. And then I had a shirt on earlier. It was just a plain shirt. But then I said, oh, wait a minute. Because one of my all-in goals was to lose some weight. And the sister lost 20-some pounds already, right? And I got my t-shirt smaller for that because for Christmas, I got everybody an all-in t-shirt. I just had this little company make a t-shirt. So I was like, girl, go get your t-shirt. So look, I got my t-shirt, my all-in t-shirt on. So those of you all who can't see me, you have to go to the YouTube page so you can see. But it's just a plain t-shirt, but it says all in because I was like, I woke up and I did what I needed to do to sit here in front of this computer. So I'm all in. So, okay. So going back to the podcast, though, again, welcome to the Six Figure Podcast. I am Dr. Arcella. This is my 27th year in mental health field. I'm a licensed psychologist, licensed professional counselor, certified school psychologist, certified professional counselor supervisor, and I am a master teacher. So I have been a professor for years. I've taught thousands of students all types of subjects in mental health. And I enjoy psychology and I enjoy teaching. And I was like, why not put together those two loves? Because my ultimate goal is to train and help the next generation of mental health providers. And I was thinking, how do I do that? And so the Six Figure Therapist was birthed. So if you are a mental health provider, if you are a coach, if you are someone who considers mental health issues in the work that you do, or if you are an ally to the mental health movement, then this podcast is for you. Okay. Now, the goal of the Six Figure Therapist is to provide mental health providers with practical and professional skills to help others and make money. All right. And I'll just tell you, kind of how this came about. So for the last 2 years or so, one of the things that our company is doing is we provide continuing education training. And so we've been training supervisors for the last several years. And there were 3 things that we found out in training the supervisors. And then I started talking to other practitioners. And then I started talking to professors. And there were three things that we found that were negatively impacting mental health providers. And I was thinking, why not see how we can help address these issues? So the first thing was that many practitioners were missing the skills and knowledge to properly do therapeutic and coaching work. Many practitioners were missing the knowledge and the skills to do therapy and to do coaching, right? And so you think about it. So many of us went to school all those years, got those licenses, had to do supervision to get the licenses, or you had to go and practice with someone to get the certifications and things like that. But yet, when it's time, you still feel like you might be missing some of the skills. And it's not necessarily maybe even that you feel like you're missing all the skills, but you know that your skill set can go to another level. And so when I thought about that, I was like, okay, how do we do that? And especially as a professor, like I said, who trains new practitioners, I started to think, okay, I know what I do when I train new practitioners, but how do I train seasoned practitioners? And so, for example, with one of our courses that we do, we actually started to incorporate different things in it so that it's interesting, so that people can practice, so that people can apply what they learn when we train them. And so I started doing that in the trainings and also in the consulting that I was doing. And so I was thinking, okay, how do we put that together so that we can help even more practitioners, especially with the things that have been difficult. For example, one of the trainings that I find that people really need is how do you apply your theoretical approach to helping a client? So if I ask people, okay, what's your theoretical approach? And they say cognitive behavior therapy, for example. And I say, okay, well, who do you follow? Because there are several versions of cognitive behavioral therapy. Some people don't know. Or I say, okay, what does that theorist say about depression? What do they say about anxiety? Many people don't know, or they've forgotten. And then I said, okay, so then if this client comes with this particular issue, how do you apply that theory so that they can change? Many people don't know. And it's some of that, and going back and talking to colleagues and professors, they say they don't have time to teach it. Or that, again, since the concepts are a little more difficult to understand, that we need to discuss it more. And so that's one of the things that we're going to do in the podcast, is really talk about the skills needed to be excellent practitioners and coaches, because I also think that that's related to the second issue that I'll talk about in terms of the money. But also, we have a talk called The Desire to Help is Not Enough. And so I believe, and we believe, that practitioners are gifted. Like what we do in mental health is a gift. But we also need, with that gift, the skills. So you might have a gift and you might have the desire to help, but if you don't have the skills, then you're not going to be able to help the people at the level that you potentially could. And I even think about singers, for example. You think about like a Whitney Houston, someone who had a beautiful voice, but she still had to go to vocal lessons. She still had to practice. She still had to rehearse. And that's the same thing for mental health. We don't talk about that a lot, but people still need to talk about, how do I better help people to change? How do I better help people to be better? And so that's one of the biggest things that we want to do with the podcast, and also with our six-figure therapist movement, is to figure out, how do we make practitioners even better at what they do? The second thing that we found over the years of training with people is that many practitioners lack the mindset, business skill, and confidence to believe that they can help people and make money. And this part, I don't know, is kind of most disturbing to me, because I feel like, again, you went to school, you had these student loans, you have all these licenses, you did all of this training, and you don't feel like you have the confidence to request $100 an hour, or the confidence to ask for $200 an hour, or the confidence to say, oh no, I can only take cash, or to even ask for the money. Do you know, there have been times where I've trained people just to get the copay. Some people don't even want to ask for the copay. So I've also found, when I talk about mindset, that some people do have interesting mindset about money that may have come from childhood, or even have believed the myth that you can't help people and make money. Medical doctors don't ever say, oh my goodness, don't pay me. Lawyers especially don't say don't pay me, and they help people all the time. So why would our profession be any different? Because as you know, if you don't have your mental health, you can't do, or it's going to be difficult to do many things, many other things in life. So we are very important to the human condition. So why would we not be compensated for the work that we do? And so many people don't believe that we should be, or that, I don't know. It's been a really interesting experience. So that's definitely something that we'll talk about. But the other big thing is, especially for master's level clinicians, people say when you finish school, go start a business. But I didn't take any business classes. And every time I poll people that I consult with and train, none of them have business classes. And so it's interesting when you tell a group of people to go and do something, but gave them no training in it. And so that's another thing that we want to talk about, is how do you set up a business? What's your taxes? How do you do customer service? One of the biggest complaints that people have is that mental health providers don't answer their phones. Okay, so what do we need to do to answer our phones so that we can get clients? And what happens when you have too many clients? What happens when you have clients you don't like? What do you do when clients complain? How do you keep good notes? So it's all of these things that I consider business pieces of it, and that we'll discuss too. So we'll have people, I'll talk to you from my experience. We'll have other people come and talk about those things, because they're very important. Because if you don't have that boss mindset and then the skills to go along with it, it's going to be difficult. It's not impossible, but it'll be more difficult to make money at a higher level. And it's also going to be difficult to help people, because again, if you're not showing up for the clients, if you're not having a skill set, then even if you do want to help a lot of people, it's going to be difficult to do that. Right. Then the third thing that we found that people were having issues with is burnout from just doing therapy. And this is the thing that I am most excited about this podcast, because I'm learning a lot too, and I'm hoping that you all will like it too, is that we are finding people who are doing different innovative things in mental health. And so you might still be doing therapy, but you would do it at a therapy center, or you're doing it in a hospital that you created. You're doing trainings. We have people who have made mental health programs that have helped mental health providers and helped the communities. And so my goal is to teach you, or to talk to you about diversifying your practice. Like as I said, I teach. We've done testing in different communities. We do individuals work, we do group work, I do supervision. There are a lot of different things that I do, because in this profession, I still feel like I'm helping people. I do consultation work, but I still want to be able to just diversify. And diversify my time, but also diversify my money. So each week I get money from somewhere, right? Because I do different things. Now, again, if you love what you do, that is great. You don't have to change it. Let's just go to the next level of what you're doing. So, okay, if you say, I'm doing this, I enjoy it, what's your next level? But if you are wanting to add to what you're doing, you're wanting to increase what you're doing, you're wanting to diversify, that is the thing. So I'm hoping that some of the people that we talk to on the podcast will resonate with you, will inspire you to see that we can do a lot of different things to help people with their mental health. And so the goal is to look at how we can provide mental health services in the box, outside the box. And at this point, I say, let's make a whole new box. Why not? Let's make a whole new box. Okay. So again, I'm hoping that you will come back. I'm hoping that you will listen. And what you'll hear, as I said before, is you will hear, I'll be talking sometimes. I'll have guests that come on that are six-figure therapists that are doing cool, innovative things with mental health and providing cool, innovative mental health services. And also you will hear people talking about practical things that you need to be successful as mental health providers. And yeah, so I'm just welcoming you. I'm so glad you're here. I do not believe in coincidences. So if I know you and you listening, thank you. And if I don't know you, I look forward to getting to know you, and I hope you get to know me. And I just hope that you will want to join this six-figure therapist movement. And if you do, please share this podcast, download it, leave reviews. And if you actually want to see the interviews, you can go to the YouTube channel and see the people, for those of you who like to watch like I do sometimes. And please leave comments and let us know if it's something in particular that you want to hear about or want to talk about as well. So we're interested in that as well, to see what things that you all might want to know that we haven't even thought about yet. So I look forward to helping you help others and make money. Take care.
Thank you for giving some of your time to listen to the Six-Figure Therapist. If something was said that taught or inspired you, please join us on our mission to uplift and empower mental health practitioners. You can become part of the movement by sharing this episode, subscribing to the podcast, and leaving a review. We can also be found at Six-Figure Therapist on YouTube and Instagram. Until next time, we wish you wellness. And remember, broke is not your color.